Hello children, very good morning. So, today I would like to ask certain questions. You please answer me. Now, have you ever heard a saying that don't judge a book by its cover? What do you understand by this statement? Can you guess any answers from your side? Yes, of course. You cannot judge people or the book without reading it. You cannot see the cover. You cannot say how the book would be. In the same manner, we cannot judge people around us with their money, their status, the wealth or the possessions. You cannot judge them. These things, the possessions, are just materialistic things. So, the authoress, Ester, is asking us a question. Is there something of more enduring value to look for in a person? She is asking this question. So now, let us know whether it is really right according to the authoress. We'll see this. This story, The 100 Dresses, Part 1, is a sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmates. The name of the girl is Wanda Petronsky. She is a young Polish girl who goes to school with other American children in an American town. There, other children see Wanda as a different in many ways, in many aspects. Now, if we read this lesson, we come to know how inhuman the girls were in the class and what kind of treatment, ill treatment they have given to the girl, Wanda Petronsky, will come to know. There is a piece of information that is given. The Polish American community in the United States. The first Polish immigrants arrived in America in 1608. But the largest wave of Polish immigration occurred in the early 20th century when more than 1 million Poles means people from Poland, migrated to the United States. The Polish state did not exist at that time, and the immigrants were identified according to their country of origin rather than to ethnicity. They were identified as Russian Poles, German Poles, and Austrian Poles. So one of the most notable Polish American communities is in Chicago and its suburbs. So Chicago is sometimes called the second largest Polish city in the world. Polish city in the world. Next only to Warsaw, the capital of Poland. Polish Americans were sometimes discriminated against in the United States, as were the Irish, Italians, and Jews. According to the United States 2000 census, 6,67,414 Americans of age 5 years and older reported Polish as the language spoken at home, which is about 1.4% of the people who speak languages other than English, or 0.25% of the US population. Now let me read the lesson for you. Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat. But nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. So in this paragraph, it was mentioned that day was Monday and the name of the girl was Wanda Petronsky, a Polish girl, was not in her seat. And nobody bothered, even Peggy and Maddie did not notice or they were not aware of her absence. They started all the fun. Wanda always used to sit in the next to the last seat in the last row. It was room number 13 and she sat in the corner of the room. Generally, rough boys usually sat there. They never scored good marks. That means academically they were not that good, but quite notorious, noisy. Can you see here the word what they used? The scuffling. You know what is the meaning of scuffling? Making noisy, dragging. Sometimes when they just, some children when they walk, they make some dragging sounds with their shoes. It will be quite irritable. So here also, actually the scuffling sound is used when a dog is kept in a closed door, then it tries to scratch the door making some kind of sound. It will be always say like that and it will be scratching the door. That is called as scuffling actually. But here the boys were making hell of noise, maybe they were beating the shoes on the ground or they are just trying to tap their legs with heavy boots on the ground. And the place was quite dirty. We'll see now what happened over there. Okay, there was mud and dirt. What indicates that they were coming from the muddy areas where, underneath the sole of a shoe, you'll find some grooves at the sole of it. And then naturally when you walk in the dust or the mud, that gets into those grooves, and when you just tap your feet on the ground, naturally it becomes quite dirty. So that was happened over there on the floor. And she was sitting in the corner along with the boys. You mean to say that she was quite noisy because she was sitting with those noisy children? Let us know what they want to, or Ester is going to tell us. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. So, on the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. So, what do you understand? For example, in your class, you itself, you go at the back and sit with the boys, a set of notorious kind. It means that you are going to be the same like the boys, make hell of noise, or trouble, or disturb? No, not at all. it was in a quite opposite meaning. That's why they said, on the contrary, in the opposite way. She does not make any noise. She does not yell or disturb the class or beat the shoes, scuffle the shoes. No, or roar with laughter. Usually roar is mentioned for the lion or the, maximum lion. So, are they roaring like lion? No, the loud noise when they laugh in the class. That is referred to as roar of the laughter. Then, she was very quiet. In the contrast meaning, in the opposite meaning, she was really not at all opening her mouth. And then, rarely said anything at all. She never spoke at all. Very rare. Okay. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. She didn't even make a sound while she was laughing. We hardly see her laughing in the class. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of smile. Maybe she's twitching her upper lip or to the side. She was dragging it. It appears as if it is quite crooked to look at. Not that very nice to look at. But that was all. That was the only way she used to just smile in the class. So here, we come to know that she's quiet girl, quiet. Quiet is different, quiet is different. Means totally not at all making any kind of noise. She rarely said something. She never spoke. No one had ever heard her laugh out loud. And she used to sit there and no one knew why she sat there. So we can guess. Can any one of you guess that? Maybe she was not entertained, she was not mingled, and nobody was talking to her, nobody was giving any kind of attention because she was coming from such a place that I'll just tell you in the next paragraph. Okay. No, almost, is it mentioned over here? No, in the next paragraph only you'll get it. I'll tell you where from she comes. And nobody knew why she was going and sitting at the back with those children. Now let us see what they want to tell, what she wanted to tell. Bsor. Nobody knew exactly why Wanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Boggins Heights. Now, can you just guess from which area she was coming? There is a specific name for the place where she was coming. That is Boggins Heights. And her feet were usually caked with dry mud. So have you ever noticed, sometimes in the rainy season, suddenly it pours down, heavy rain, and then the soil will totally become like a cake, mud cake. You know, there is a cake, mud cake. Have you ever tasted it? It's not made out of mud, but it is something which looks like just like mud. It's almost a chocolate made, I think so. So now let us not deviate from the topic. It was caked with dry mud. That is wet. You can see as we are wearing another shoe. Okay, it appears underneath your sole. The wet mud will be sticking to your shoes. But here it is dry mud. But no one really thought much about Wanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. Nobody bothered why she was sitting, what she was doing. They never bothered about her. The time when they thought about Wanda was outside of the school hours. At noontime, when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began, when groups of 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the school yard. So here, now, They did not bother much about, only they remembered her after the school hours, and that too outside the school. Okay. They waited for her to have fun with her, going to or coming from home. Whether she was going from school to home or coming to school from home to. Okay, from her home. Wanda did not come to school on Tuesday also. So 2 days it was. Monday, Tuesday. But what happened we'll see now. Then sometimes they waited for Wanda to have fun with her. So why they waited? Did they just wait for her to come and join them? Are they taking her as a friend and waiting for her to come and together they can go to school? No, it was only to make fun of her. Okay, the next day, Tuesday, Wanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with the other children, who got good marks and who did not track in a whole lot of mud, did notice that Wanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school. She was pretty, she had many pretty clothes, and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Wanda's absence was because Wanda had made them late to school. They had waited and waited for Wanda and to have some fun with her, and she just hadn't come. They often waited for Wanda Petronsky to have fun with her. So this was what happening every day. They were waiting. That was the third day of the week, Wednesday. So, Peggy and Maddie, they were sitting there waiting for Wanda Petronsky to pass that way along with some other girls. And naturally they got good score, and then they didn't track in a whole lot of mud. That means they were not coming from that muddy area from where Wanda Petronsky was coming. Which place was that, my dears? Can anyone of tell me? Anyone of you? Yeah, good. Boggins Heights. So they were quite, maybe the appearance it makes out that they were quite well off, rich. So and the way they were dressing and the way they were talking and the way they were walking and coming maybe on the bicycles, whatever it is, they were well off. Unlike Wanda Petronsky, who was coming from a poor area, muddy area. The track was totally muddy and grassy, and that place was Boggins Heights. Now, let us see here what it conveys to us. On Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie thought of Wanda. They sat in the front. They got good marks. Peggy, naturally, she was most popular in school. She was pretty, good looking, beautiful, and had curly hair. Actually, I should say hair. Maddie was her closest friend. As you have your Jan Jigris, no? Very close friend to whom you will be sharing all your emotions, whatever it is, your secrets, everything will be disclosed to them. They wanted to have fun with Wanda, so they got late. So they waited and waited, but she did not come. And while they were waiting, they did not notice the time pass by, and it became late to them to school. Due to this, they saw that Wanda was absent. Otherwise, they would not have bothered. Whether she came or not, it is immaterial to them. But that particular day, Wednesday, she did not come to school, and they noticed that, okay, she did not come today because of waiting for her it became late for them. So then they noticed. Otherwise, they never bothered whether she came or not. Okay. So, my dears, I'll stop here and I'll be just telling you about the theme of this story. The story, The 100 Dresses, is based on Ester's real life experience. It is the story of a girl who received Peggy's hand-me-down clothes. She felt very guilty for not having defended the character Wanda in real life. She wrote this story in order to assuage, that means make less intense or an unpleasant feeling, her guilt, and to encourage others to stand against bullies. Now I'll tell you, my dears, have you ever thought of what is bullying? Do you know what is bullying? It is when someone is picked on by a person or a group. Bullies might make fun of people who they think don't fit in. That means in that particular area, in the surroundings, or in that particular group, they are like odd men out. So they're not right persons to be in that group. Thereby such kind of people will be bullied by certain groups. So here, bullies might make fun of others for many things. I'll tell you what are they. Some points I'll give you, including appearance. Why do they bully people? By seeing their appearance. That means how someone looks. Seeing the looks, they make fun of them. And the next point is behavior. How someone acts. And then next, race or religion. And then social status, whether someone is popular or not. These are some of the aspects usually people make fun of other people. So this is called bullying. So usually you also do it, but it is not that serious. Yours is very general thing where you get into the bus and you then make the small children who are very small in their age and they are a bit scared of your appearance because you are very sturdy personality, strong and well-built personality, 10th class child you are. Then naturally what you do? You go there, hey, get up, I'll sit here. Who asked you to sit over them? You make them to move from there, or sometimes you take their bags and keep them somewhere or keep them where they cannot reach. This kind of things usually you make. You think it is for fun, but you also have to realize that though they are small, but how much they feel, how much trauma, how much humiliation they feel when you treat them in that way. That you have to always remember, my dears. So don't do such kind of things. Thank you, children. I think you all understood. Otherwise, don't worry. I'm there always for you. Read the lesson. Try to understand. If not, make a mark over there wherever you are not able to understand. Tomorrow, as usual, we'll have the class. Then you can ask me. I can clarify your doubts. Let us have a small discussion and let us take away the doubt that is still existing in your mind. Thank you. Thank you once again. Bye.